Hey there, it's Wayfair here, where delivery and setup are as easy as a few taps on your phone. You're relaxing in an old hammock, scrolling Wayfair's app, when you spot it, a brand new patio set. Next thing you know, Wayfair delivers it right to your patio and sets it up. Oh, you need a new grill too? All right, Wayfair's got you covered. With Wayfair's Room of Choice delivery and fast expert setup on qualifying orders, life gets a little easier. Visit wayfair.com or the Wayfair app.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Warning, the following ZipRecruiter radio spot you are about to hear is going to be filled with F-words.
When you're hiring, we at ZipRecruiter know you can feel frustrated, forlorn even, like your efforts are futile, and you can spend a fortune trying to find fabulous people, only to get flooded with candidates who are just fine. Fortunately, ZipRecruiter figured out how to fix all that. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/zip. With ZipRecruiter, you can forget your frustrations because we find the right people for your roles fast, which is our absolute favorite F word. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day.
Fantastic!
So, whether you need to hire 4, 40, or 400 people, get ready to meet first-rate talent. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/zip to try ZipRecruiter for free. Don't forget, that's ZipRecruiter.com/zip. Finally, that's ZipRecruiter.com/zip.
Hello to everybody ready to ponder the deepest questions life has to offer. It's Beautiful Anonymous. 1 hour, 1 phone call, no names, no holds barred.
I'd rather go one-on-one. I think it'll be more fun, and I'll get to know you, and you'll get to know me.
Hi, everyone. I know not everybody likes an intro. That's fine. Skip about like 5.5 minutes ahead. That'll put you right towards the beginning of the call. Enjoy it. Hi, everybody. Chris Gethard here. Welcome to Beautiful Anonymous. I feel so lucky to be here as always. 10 years in, at least 2 more years to go. Building an archive of human conversation that I never totally intended and that you all have supported and that feels like it has taken on deeper meaning when I thought I was just going to take dumb phone calls. Anyway, hello, it's great to be here. Hi. This is being released on Tuesday, April 28th, 2026. Wanted to go ahead in the course of this, say happy birthday to Holly. And Holly, longtime listeners of the show might know, episode 69 of the show was titled Love is Everywhere. It was a very, very transformative experience for myself and a lot of us listening. That caller is someone who appeared at the Beautiful Anonymous convention, someone who has been back for follow-up, someone who I've had dinners with, someone who I've met up with in a few different times in life. We've become very close. Her name is Heidi Bruno. She wrote a book about her experience. That book can be purchased at love-is-everywhere.com. And the reason I wanted to bring it up today is because Holly is the daughter who she talked about when she first called, who was at that point sick and who eventually passed away. And April 28th is Holly's birthday. So I wanted to say happy birthday and to let you know that our friend Heidi wrote a book about her life and her experience, and I've read the book, and it's really beautiful, as one would expect from her call. And you can find her book right now and support it. And I promise, I have never gotten the sense that Heidi's trying to commodify the situation or become famous off of it or become a New York Times bestselling author. I think Heidi wants to keep Holly's memory alive, wants to tell this story. And also, as I learned through our call together, I think this particular experience has just helped so many people who are going through similar things. So happy birthday, Holly, and support our friend Heidi by buying love-is-everywhere.com. Go there, buy the book, and please support. And happy birthday to the little one. Happy birthday, little one. Oh man, anytime I think about that call, I get a little emotional. I've got some stuff to tell you about this week's episode. Before I do, I'll also just tell you, it feels so bad to plug something right after talking about the Love is Everywhere call, but I think Heidi is probably listening right now going, no, do it. Tell people. I've always got shows. We've got a big one in Jersey coming up in June. That one's going to be a huge party. If you're in the New Jersey area, June 19th, you want to come by. It's at the Count Basie in Red Bank. I think it's going to sell out, but grab your tickets now. It's going to be a blast. And I've got other shows coming up around the country, and you can find info on all of those. Go to chrisgeth.com. That will redirect you to punchup.live/Chris Gethard, and that's where all my show dates are. And as those shows come up, I'll be throwing them up there. I know I've got one coming up in Boston soon. I've got one somewhere in upstate New York, I believe. We've got a few coming down the pike pretty soon. So keep checking that out for info, and I'll get more specific when I have my act together. Now, this week's call, I have to tell you, this show in its early days, it took a lot of, it had a lot of hype and it had a lot of praise, but there was one big knock against it. People said, oh man, it's this podcast, and people treat it like therapy. And in a lot of ways, I think that is in the DNA of the show. We've worked really hard to kind of set some internal parameters about that. And we've actually mostly avoid stretches that explicitly deal with therapy. But this call, we got a therapist. We got a therapist who does a very specific type of therapy that I'd never heard of before. And we got to talk about what that entails and get into the weeds on it. And also to hear what it's like to be a therapist and then also function in the world the other hours of the day. Point being, I loved this call. Found it really eye-opening. And anytime I get to somebody who is one of life's helpers, I'm always grateful that I get to talk to them. Enjoy the call. Thanks so much, everybody. BeautifulAnonymous.com if you want ad-free episodes and more with every caller.
Thank you for calling Beautiful Anonymous. A beeping noise will indicate when you are on the show with the host.
Hello there.
Hi, how's it going?
It's going pretty well. How are you?
I'm pretty good. Yeah, I got no complaints right now. I'm doing all right.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
This is where you usually say, I've been trying to be honest with the crowd lately.
I do often say that. That's true. But yeah, today,
it's a funny thing, we have our pattern.
Yeah, indeed. I've been told to. It was recently pointed out to me that apparently, what's the thing I say a lot, and I got called out on it, and Andrea was like, "Yeah, you say that all the time," and I never realized that I say it's I sit here and I go. Apparently, when I'm trying to formulate a thought, the way I cover for time while I'm formulating the thought is I go, I sit here and I go, and now every time I say it, I start cringing because I can feel it.
You could do way worse than that.
That's true.
I have a distinct memory of being a teenager, and like someone in my Boy Scout troop he gave an and I thought that was the dumbest thing ever. And now I am the kind of person that gives an and it just yeah. Life's funny that way.
It's hard to unhear these things once you start noticing them.
Absolutely. Sometimes that's good and growth promoting, and other times that's you're like, oh, I hate the things about me that other people perceive now.
I did yesterday. If I'm just gonna be fully honest, if you're gonna call me up for usually being more honest,
Give it to me.
Well, I'll tell you, it's a feeling that I've had a few times over the past 7 years, but I felt it really acutely yesterday. There's few things where I disappoint myself more than when I realize that I've dropped the ball as a dad. And I did that yesterday.
Ooh.
And I was bummed. But I think I handled it the right way and I made up for it. My son, he's he's an emotional guy. He's raised by two emotional artists, and he has inherited that.
Yeah.
And his relationship with TV, like a lot of kids, is really, you realize, oh, this is not cool. Like sometimes you throw the TV on to reward them, or because you just need it. But you realize, oh, he's so locked in, and he got ready for school so fast, which he never does. And he says, if I get ready really fast, can I watch a little TV before school? I said, all right, man, like you'll probably be able to get about 10 minutes in if you really push it. And he got dressed so fast, he ate his breakfast so fast, he brushed his teeth and his hair and all this. He even asked, can I brush my own hair? It was very cute. And I told him, I said, I'm going to turn on the TV now, but when I turn it off, you can't flip out. And he said, but I do have to be allowed to feel my feelings. And I said, yeah, but just don't flip out. And then he flipped out a little bit, and I got upset, and I realized I got too upset. And while he was still feeling his feelings, I said, this is why I can never show you TV before school, man. And that made it even worse. He got so upset. And it was really, I'm going to get upset. We went down to the bus stop, and he and I were playing tag. It's always just me and him at the bus stop. There's no other families that use the bus anymore. Everybody else in the neighborhood drives their kids now. And we were like playing catch a little bit, and he was being real happy, but I could see in his eyes that he was not totally himself. And then he got on the bus and sat in his seat, and I just watched his head slump. And I said, oh, he's not only is he hanging on to how I made him feel, he's hiding it. He's learning to hide how he feels from me. And he didn't realize that I could see him through the window when he like slumped over, and I said, ooh, that's on me. And I felt so awful all day. So I worked from home. I had to go into New York last night for some shows, but all day I worked from home just so I could meet him at the bus. And we played a little bit more before I had to leave. And I said, I apologized. And I said, I told you were allowed to feel your feelings, and then I made you feel bad for doing it. And I saw that messed with you. And he went, Daddy, apology accepted. And it was like a weight off my shoulders. So there's the real answer if you want it. There's the real answer if you want it.
I love it. I'm all here for it. I thank you for giving that to me. I appreciate it.
Happy to share if you're going to put the screws to me a bit. Yeah.
Can I, without like exonerating you, can I give you like feedback there?
Please exonerate me. Feel free.
Well, look, I mean, I say that to say like, I can't take away like that guilty feeling, and like we all make those mistakes, and like I have to tell people this all the time. Like it's actually like fine for you to make like mistakes that are somewhat well informed, and like you came and apologized afterwards, and like you noticed everything that was going on, like for better or worse. This is like, someone will get mad at me for this. For better or worse, at some point your boy has to learn some measure of hiding his feelings. That's not how I want to phrase that, but like it's the same thing. I was telling someone else this the other day, like we were talking about kind of similar behavioral things, and this is one of my friends, and I said, like controversial opinion, like our kids actually need to know how to lie to us at a certain point. Like
I get it.
Part of it. It's kind of an impossible thing to say to parents, and so I don't very often, but like there are certain underhanded skills that like they're going to need, and certain like, I don't know, these are not opinions I say out loud very often, but it's part of growing up. Like he has, at least, what we all get from, what you give us. Like he has a very, you said emotional. I sure, but he has two parents that really love him and are really trying hard, and that is way more important than being perfect.
Yeah, I hear you, and I'm with you. And a good example is, like, he would always, after Halloween, he'd always ask us, "Can I have some of my Halloween candy?" And then it would be no, and then there'd be fighting and crying. And I finally said to him, "You know where the Halloween candy is, right?" And he'd say, "Yeah." And I'd go, just go eat some and don't tell us. Don't go crazy. Don't make yourself sick. Don't eat so much that you're up all night, but like, just go sneak some candy. Don't tell us, and then there won't be a fight. And that's the type of thing that I think is, like, have some agency and learn how to set your own boundaries. And if you're asking us where the boundary is, you're going to not like the answer. But if you can show that you can eat a little candy and not ruin the night, now you've set your own boundary. That's a good thing. Where I screwed up yesterday that I felt so bad about was I sent him the message, "Your dad has no room or space for your emotions. Your dad gets impatient and pissy when you get sad, so hide it." And it just brought back, I mean, so much of it's about me, right? But it was just, as a kid who spent years hiding his emotions from his parents, I said, I can't see that kid slump over when he gets into his bus seat because he was pretending to have fun with me playing catch because he thinks I only have room for him if he's being like a fun guy. I can't do it. Can't do it. So anyway, who the hell are you that you're full of so much gentle wisdom and thoughtfulness? What's your deal?
Yeah. How many minutes in are we?
We've got 51 and a half minutes left.
Oh, okay. That's not as long as I thought it was, actually. I am expecting it to fly by because that's what everyone always said. Yeah. Do you think everyone listening has clocked that I'm a therapist yet?
Oh, look at that. Hence, you really did drag it right out of me. Look at that. I was like, you were like, "How are you?" I was like, "I'm good." And you immediately were like, "No, you're usually very honest in this. So if you're not being honest, it means you're holding back." And then the floodgates opened. And then you had great advice.
Oh, well, thank you. I do my best.
Thank you. I'm not shocked. You have a good, calming vibe and a thoughtfulness, like I said. I'm not shocked that you are a high-level, in-tuned listener who has gone through years of rigorous training towards listening. That's not shocking based on our first 9 minutes together.
I appreciate that. I try. I'm glad that it comes through with just the voice. This is a weird specific thing. For maybe 2-3 years, like, had been growing out my hair, and so I had it decently long, but I also realized, like, way too late that I wanted to have long hair, and so I was already losing a lot of it. And so just not long after Easter, I went and cut it short, and that was like a big thing. Like, for a while I was debating, like, do I make this like into a big party and like have all my friends around and just like shave my head or whatever. But I realized I was being a little vain there, or maybe not, but that was my anxious self-critique. But I just decided to pull the trigger. But kind of one of the last like lingering doubts that I had on that day was like, how is this going to change my vibe? Because, like, I'm a man. I'm not strongly attached to like masculinity. I kind of hate it, but I don't feel a need to identify as anything else. But I kind of like being like I like giving people kind of a softer, if that's I don't know the right word to put on it, but yeah, a softer version of masculinity to like see and look at and be like, oh, there are like better ways that men can be. And I felt like the hair was a big part of that. like, oh, like, cause it would. And people would tell me sometimes, like, I came in and like, saw the hair and it was kind of disarming. And so I was worried that I would be losing the big piece of that. And, turns out that was such a small piece of it. And it's just like my vibe in general that, puts people at ease. So
that was Dumbo's feather.
I don't know. Yeah.
You got good vibes.
Yeah. I appreciate that.
Yeah. I'm so happy you're calling the show. We have a lot of social workers. We have a very strong contingent of social workers who have listened to the show religiously, and I want to say shout out to all the social workers who support the show.
Absolutely.
I think there's a lot of people on your side of the fence in therapy who check it out, but I know that my former therapist was alarmed at what this show was in its early days, and that so many of the callers at times seem to use it for therapeutic purposes in a way that was not good. And she set me straight on that. I don't know if you have any misgivings about Beautiful Anonymous in the same way.
No, I will tell you, it was really funny to me because I've been listening since basically the beginning. I think when I found the show, you had like 6 episodes in the feed. So you have definitely been in my ear since, college and all the way through grad school and now into what passes for adult life. But when I was in grad school, I think I didn't always know this professor, but it was like my second and third year. I think I had her, and her name was Barb. And I was like looking at her with suspicion, like, what is? Like, what? There's no way. Like, fortunately, there obviously was no way.
Yeah.
Because we're way far away. I mean, we're not way far away from you, but I'm up in New England, and
different. Turns out many therapists named Barb.
Yes. But no, I don't know. I remember having you having that conversation on the show a lot more in the early days. I never like really. I never felt it bridge into that as much. But I also, I appreciate like all the reverence that there is around therapy, because we do go through a lot of training and we are prepared in ways that the average person is not to hold things for people. But I also like tend, at least in my own head, to really deconstruct like what we do. Like there are days that I'm like, man, I don't feel like I'm like always giving like much more than you would get from a friend. And then of course like go to supervision and they're like, no, like you're obviously doing good work, like get over yourself. I don't know, it is simultaneously like a very clear line between therapy and everything else, and like the thinnest possible line sometimes.
Yeah. And I can say from experience, there's times where, I've probably paid for therapy in stretches of my life that were not crisis points, that were generally good, but where as someone who has had many ups and downs, A, I always wanted that person on retainer in case disaster struck, but B, sometimes you just get so stressed out and lonely that it is a little bit of like, you're providing me what a friend would provide, and maybe I need to work on that and expand access to friends and social life and social activities. But sometimes that in and of itself keeps you afloat, to just have a familiar, steady, friendly presence in the moments of non-crisis. I think that's totally fair.
Absolutely. And that is one of the biggest things that like I have to harass my clients about, is having friends. Because we can open this box or we cannot, but I'm an existential psychologist.
What does that mean?
I'm a real, okay. this is like a whole thing. And like there's a small amount of cringe that still comes with it. It comes with me saying that, even though like I fully wrote my dissertation in this arena, so I shouldn't feel that anymore. Like I am officially this. Like I can't be cringe about this. So how do I do this without turning it into like a full blown history lesson? Because I could talk to you for an hour about this, but I guess as short as I can make this, we're generally aware of like existential philosophy, right? Like, you know, life like has no inherent meaning. Like you make that for yourself. Kind of, you know, a lot of people kind of stereotype it as very death focused. I don't really think of it that way, but so existential psychology has kind of been there right alongside it like the whole time, and they've all kind of always been in conversation. And in fact, the original existential psychoanalyst was his name was Ludwig Benswanger. He was a Swiss psychiatrist, and he was actually really good friends with Freud. And so, you know, they were all in conversation there, you know, back a century and change ago. But, you know, Benswanger took the emerging ideas of existentialism and applied them to psychology, you know, starting with like everything is subjective. Like everything that we know is filtered through human experience. We have no choice in that. Like there is no objective reality for you to go find. And so because of that, we have to understand people as products of their environment and, you know, products of perspective. And so, you know, he said that I'm so radically oversimplifying, but that's okay. Can you tell that I'm anxious?
It sounds like you're getting more anxious, but there is no reason to feel like this is cringe. You're talking to a professional podcaster, the cringiest profession of the 2020s, by far.
I appreciate that.
Let's pause right there, because you know what supports this show is blatant capitalism. We've got some ads. We'll be right back. I am so happy to be telling you about Zenni Optical. I have been a customer for so many years. Every pair of glasses you have seen me wear since the start of this show has been a Zenni Optical pair of glasses. And we all know, you think about your glasses situation, the sides start to get a little loose, those screws are starting to go up. You're getting out that little glasses screwdriver kit, seeing if you can save them. Those things are getting lost. It's very stressful. And even in modern day times, in 2026, replacing your glasses can feel like such a production. A lot of people just live with their busted glasses. You got to schedule appointments, pay a ton, and then wait. On top of that, Zenni Optical fixes all of that. That's why I've been using them for years. They make it so simple, so easy, and the cost of their glasses, I have to tell you, I was shocked to realize how affordable these glasses could be compared to the price gouging that I had experienced, let's be honest, earlier in my life. It's wild. Zenni is an online eyewear shop. Prescription glasses, sunglasses, blue light lenses, starting at under $30. You go to zenni.com, that's Zenni.com. You pick a frame, upload your prescription, they ship it to your door. No appointment, no store, no upsell at the counter. And at that price, something kind of shifts. You stop asking, do I really need new glasses? You start going, why don't I just go get them? You wind up with these glasses that are constantly sliding down your face. You're pushing them around. You're going, I don't want to go and have that stressful experience. No, it's not. You have been given the keys, my friends, to a stress-free glasses experience. Okay? Go get the ones that work. Go get a pair of prescription sunglasses because your glasses are now cheap enough you can supplement it. Get one that just you want to have. You want the one that you wear at work, and you want the one that you wear when you want to look cool, when you're out like driving around and stuff. It's the best. At under $30, you don't need to justify this or stress about it. There's over 150,000 five-star reviews, and if you've never bought glasses online before, Zenni has a virtual try-on so you can see exactly how a frame looks on your face before you commit. I'm telling you, I discovered Zenni Optical years ago. They've been a lifesaver. It's not at all an exaggeration. Every pair of glasses you've ever seen me wear, Zenni Optical, they've had my back for years. The process is so simple, so easy, and financially, they are removing so much stress. They're putting money back in your pocket while removing stress from your life. This company is the best. If your glasses are overdue for a refresh, now's the time. Go to zenni.com/podcast. Use code podcast15 for 15% off your first order. The styles do sell out, so don't sit around and wait too long. That's zenni.com/podcast. Promo code is podcast15. Life comes at you fast. We all know this. You got work stuff. You got kids stuff. You're also trying to be a human in the world for yourself. Everything's happening. Work, relationships, all the stuff that piles up on your plate. You know, you're going to want to show up when it counts. And that includes the bedroom. Okay? If things are not working the way they used to, you do not have to accept it because Rougiette has treatments that can help you get hard, stay hard, last as long as you want, whether it's occasional trouble, whether it's something that's been building for a while. Doctors at Rougiette are ready to work with you to find what fits your body. Their best-selling treatment, Rougiette Ready, combines 3 clinically proven ingredients and 1 minty dose. It dissolves under your tongue. It increases blood flow. It primes your brain for arousal. You're ready physically and mentally. Most men are good to go in about 15 minutes, with effects lasting up to 36 hours. And if timing's the issue, Rougiette has Go Long, a 2-in-1 treatment that helps you get hard and stay in control of when you finish. Over 400,000 men have already made the switch to Rougiette. Getting started is simple. Rougiette connects you with a board-certified doctor online. Treatment ships discreetly to your door. So if you are personally affected, go to rougiette.com/beautiful. Maybe you are partnered up with a man who's dealing with these problems. Sit down and maybe you can both go to rougiette.com/beautiful together. I also just have to say, 10 years of doing this show, this is our first erectile dysfunction sponsor. I want to thank Rougiette for getting on board. My last name does phonetically spell out the words get hard, which has been unfortunate. It's pronounced Gethard, but for most of my life, people have made fun of it saying get hard. I've always wondered, how has this not led to a tidal wave of erectile dysfunction ads, which are very popular on podcasts? And I happen to have a very popular podcast. Rougiette, you are now on my team and I am on your team. This is a match made in heaven. Head to rougiette.com/beautiful. Get 15% off your ED treatment. That's RUGIET.com/beautiful. Get 15% off. Rougiette, performance medicine for men. Mother's Day is coming up, and I'm so happy to be here telling you that Storyworth is an incredible gift you can do with your mom. We hear from Storyworth a few times a year. We have the privilege of working with them, and I will tell you, in between, this is the #1 advertiser that our listeners go, wait, what was the story thing? It sounded so awesome. This is it, everybody. So listen up. If you ever were like, wait, what was the story advertiser on Beautiful Anonymous? This is it, okay? Your mom is out there, stories to tell, right? Who's writing down these stories? You probably laugh about these stories sometimes after a meal, sitting on the couch. But has anybody actually ever said, these stories that make you love your mom so much, these stories that nobody else in the world has, what are we going to do with these stories? Well, guess what? Most Mother's Day gifts are about one moment. Storyworth is so much more. Storyworth gives your mom a year-long experience and gives your family a book filled with the stories only she can tell, because each week, Storyworth sends her a question about her life. She responds however she wants, writing back over the email, over a voice recording, Or new this year, a guided phone call. So many easy ways to participate. And there's no apps, there's no logins, there's no tech hassle. They make it easy. Storyworth makes it so easy, so mom can focus on the joy of remembering and reflecting. You can even help pick the questions. You can choose from some pre-written questions, write your own, or let Storyworth create personalized questions based on her life. You get each story as she tells it, and after a year, Storyworth compiles everything, her words, her photos, her life, into a beautiful hardcover book. Families have used Storyworth to create over 1 million books, and more than 50,000 five-star reviewers agree it will be a treasure your family will love. New this year is Storyworth's Unlimited plan. Buy it once, and you'll be able to give Storyworth memoirs to friends and family all year. Plus, it comes with all their newest features and multiple full-color book copies. That means you can get all of your Mother's Day gifts for your mom, grandma, any mom figures in your life, plus take care of Father's Day while you're at it. I did Storyworth with my dad a few years ago, and it was one of my most treasured experiences. My dad would write these stories. I would read them in the emails. Some of them I had heard, and I said, I'm getting more details, and they're written down. That's beautiful. Some of them I'd never heard before, but those prompts were bringing more out of them. And now we have these hardcover books full of his stories that I get to have forever, that Cal gets to have. And I hope my dad is around for so many more years, but if he passes someday, when he passes someday, I love knowing that Cal will have that book to remember his pa. It's such a meaningful gift and legitimately a meaningful experience. I'm telling you guys from my heart, that is true. This year, give mom a gift that helps her reflect on her life with fresh perspective and gives your whole family the gift of her stories. Mother's Day is Sunday, May 10th. Order right now and save up to $20 at storyworth.com/beautiful. Save up to $20 at storyworth.com/beautiful. Storyworth.com/beautiful. Thanks so much to our advertisers. Now let's get back to the phone call. There is no reason to feel like this is cringe. You're talking to a professional podcaster, the cringiest profession of the 2020s by far.
I appreciate that. It's more that I don't know, it's funny. I'm used to when giving this speech either to clients who are really interested or colleagues. And so I'm having to find some kind of middle ground here. But anyway, getting off of it. The core question for this guy was, okay, if we basically can't know anything, if everything is subjective, what can we say about every single human on this planet? And the answer, that he came to for the most part was, well, we all have to navigate 3 different worlds. We all have these physical bodies, and all the implications of the physical world, which includes, the fact that it ends at some point. We all have to navigate the relational world. None of us are here alone. We you don't get a choice one way or another. You came into this world through another human. And more than likely, you will be with someone when you die too. Relationships are a necessary part of life. And then the most nebulous one, we all have these internal worlds that we navigate. It includes, our own psychology, our spirituality, our sense of meaning and purpose. And so, I did my whole dissertation working around those 3 worlds and trying to figure out a way to measure them. As far as turning this into a psychology that people might recognize from therapy, the tradition from there talks a lot about existential anxiety, which is bigger and different from just day-to-day anxiety, and it's the kind of feeling that derives from those necessary truths. You exist in the physical world, therefore you're probably at some point going to be anxious about how it ends. And you necessarily exist in relationships. So probably at some point you're going to feel isolated. And then, purposeful. Go on.
I was going to say this. This sounds like a very fascinating style of therapy that could potentially, for certain anxious people, freak them out more at times, I would imagine.
Sometimes I think my approach to it actually makes it really accessible, because my contribution was, okay, we have these three worlds, and the state of the theory up to now is basically focused on that anxiety. And I was like, well, wait a minute. Like, there has to be like something on the other end, right? And so, like, I created the existential well-being.
Oh, wait, you're breaking up a little bit.
Along those three worlds. Oh, I'm in the same place.
Oh,
so
now you're back.
I'm pacing. But,
Okay.
Good deal. So I made the argument that, well, since existential anxiety is inevitable and, just a product of human existence, then there has to be like something on the other end. Namely, my big word that I use with everybody is investment. You have to make positive investments in all three worlds to, the fancy word I used in the dissertation was mediate, but to kind of match or fight back against that anxiety. So if you're feeling isolated, you have to go and make investments in your relationships. And it's as simple as that, really. I mean, not to say it's easy, but a lot of the work I do is just trying to get people to be like, okay, I'm feeling this. Let me go match it with something positive that kind of correlates with that.
I get the sense that there are things people are struggling with right now on a very common basis, and that maybe the average person doesn't realize how widespread they are, and that they're different than things even 5 or 10 years ago. Am I right in that thinking, or is that off base? I have a couple things I want to throw.
I'm sure you are, but
I have a couple things I want to throw at you.
Give me an example.
Yeah, and then I bet you have some more. Like, for example, two that come to mind right away is this phrase, the loneliness epidemic, is tossed around a ton, and I think everybody's getting used to hearing that. But the sense I get is that there are people feeling such a profound sense of loneliness in modern times that they're effectively disconnecting from being pack animals. And I get the sense that that's happening more often than we realize. I get the sense that young people are really struggling with a sense of loneliness that young people historically we don't associate with. The other thing that I've already started to get a sense is happening is that AI is here and it's being pushed as this game changer, and you're hearing stories that every workplace is trying to integrate it. You're hearing stories that it's going to come for all our jobs, and those are majorly concerning. But I've already started to catch wind that there is a pretty demonstrable effect that AI can have on the human psyche at times, and that there are people who are like, I wouldn't be surprised if within a few years there's going to be some sort of diagnosable AI sickness due to AI dependence, and that's already starting to happen. But I don't know if I'm totally right on that. But I get the sense that there are people where AI has already started to kind of break their ability to input with human reality. Is that true or false?
The thing for people to Google when they're not in an anxious place is AI-induced psychosis.
AI-induced psychosis. This is coming. Why are we so obsessed with this technology? Why are we so obsessed?
I don't know.
Everyone just decided, hey, the new thing is that AI is going to be everywhere, and also we can't ever move back from it or question it. It's here, get used to it, and it's like, why? We have been fine without it, and I get the sense it's pretty fucked up. What is AI-induced psychosis, and what form does it take? What are we doing? What are we doing? So 6 dickheads can make money. So 6 asshole billionaires can make money. We are inventing a new disease?
I know. It kills me, man.
Have you dealt with it? Have you seen this AI stuff?
No. Well, okay. Yes and no. Not that explicitly. It's funny to kind of track things with time, because like last year I was on what we call internship. It's kind of our equivalent of like a medical residency. You know, we're done with classes, but we go and work somewhere for full time for half pay for a year, and then they'll give us our degree. But I was somewhere completely different, and like for that year, most of like the things, as far as like internet exposure, like most things that people would bring me were like on TikTok. You know, everybody was self-diagnosing ADHD and autism through TikTok, and I'm like, you know, it would get to the point where it would be just one after the other, and I'm like, please, like, you have me. You don't have to get your psychological insights from TikTok. Like, just come talk to me.
Someone else has talked to me about this recently, that this is a big epidemic in the world of psychology.
But this year it is more AI. I will say it's not. I don't think it's as bad, or I don't see it as frequently as I did the TikTok thing. But I was also working with a much more severe population at the time. But it does like seep in all kinds of ways, and I hate it. Like, I think a lot of my people are pretty good about like knowing where the boundary is, but the thing that kills me most is the kids who and this is getting into education, which I'm not as qualified to speak on, but like the kids who just like aren't learning because now they're going to use AI instead to do their work, and that just, it devastates me, and it is like the biggest thing that makes me worried for the future, because we already, like, despite everything going on in the world, I see a lot of things in my day-to-day that make me very hopeful about the future. That one kills me because we already have all this good research that demonstrates clearly, like, the longer you use AI, the more you are killing your brain cells.
Yeah, no,
you are
thanks,
actively conceding your ability to think critically.
Can I tell you what a friend of mine told me about the TikTok thing? And I think you're going to verify this. I have a friend who, I don't want to say too much, but he is a psychological professional who works in I don't think I'm outing anybody to say, on a college campus. And he was saying that there's kind of a twofold problem that colleges are dealing with right now. And it's really fascinating in both directions, really concerning in both directions, where he said, on one hand, they're seeing that young people who are dealing with serious things are dealing with them in a more serious way than he's seen in his career. That the bad things are as bad as they've ever been and probably worse. This was kind of paraphrasing what he put out there. But then he said a companion issue with that is that so many young people are having algorithms built with flashy, clickbaity, psychological stuff in them that's not from doctors, and it's not research backed, or it's paraphrased in ways to get clicks, where he says, like, he'll have a wave of students who all get appointments because they're disassociating, and they all have self-diagnosed as disassociating. And then it becomes clear that disassociating has been trending on the mental health TikTok algorithms, and that it's not that well explained, and that it's a pretty serious thing, and that the amounts of people that come looking for appointments based on whatever is currently trending on the mental health related algorithms on TikTok effectively is pretty easy to deal with, because you can explain to a person, no, you're feeling some slight anxiety, but that's not disassociating, or your stress levels are mitigating,
Right.
but you're not falling into this thing you've heard about on TikTok. But the problem with that is that the people who are dealing with that serious stuff, oftentimes at a level that he's noticing is really more concerning than he's flagged before, can't get appointments because of the long line of people who are self-diagnosing based on this sort of internet pop psychology that's not real. It's wild. He told me about that. I said, that's so wild.
Well, the problem is that it's half real, right?
Right. It's indicating something real, but it's also making people, it's like WebMD times 1,000, right? It's WebMD catered to you through an algorithm that's deducing with everything you do on your phone what's going to get you to freak out the most. It's like WebMD, instead of you going to WebMD and typing in your symptoms and freaking out, they're sensing what you're typing and coming to you to verify fears that are not real. It's wild what we're doing. It is wild. I think we all need to throw our phones in the river and I don't know, though. I don't want to just be a total Luddite. It's not even that, though. It's that we can't, we have to stop the out of control for-profit train that's allowing all of these companies to do stuff that's so clearly going to be treated how we treat cigarettes now. All of this stuff needs more warning labels. All of this stuff needs Surgeon General oversight. All of this stuff needs to really examine. And I'm of the exact age that, when I was in 7th grade, I was dialing into BBS systems in the proto-internet days, and then freshman year of college, we had Ethernet connections. Like, the internet exploded in the exact years where I was consuming it. I think we need to examine our relationship with anonymity in the internet and people taking accountability for things they post, especially if it's going to be kind of pseudo medical advice. There's got to be some level of responsibility for that. This is how you wind up. People don't like when I go political, but this is how you wind up with an anti-vaxxer surgeon general. This is how you wind up with an anti-vaxxer surgeon general, because people trust TikTok more than they trust the advice of actual trained professionals. It's really scary.
Yeah. It definitely. There are times, not often, but there are times when I am like, oh, dang, I need to be on my best so that I'm I can convince this person that I am a better choice than the AI.
Look at that. Right. You have people showing up saying, well, I talked to Claude and Claude told me that I'm probably dealing with X, Y, and Z. You have that conversation now?
It's not common, but the prototypical example in my head is earlier this year, I had a mom who was bringing me a kid, and she was like, hey, I've been telling AI everything I've been seeing, and it tells me all this. Do you want the transcript? And I said, no, no, thank you. That's why you're talking to me. Please, no, I don't want to know what AI thinks. I know AI knows everything, but AI has not had the training that I did.
No,
and I think that's where that has become my line recently, because I think, because I have this conversation with people who are understandably skeptical about higher education. I totally get that, despite my overall very good experience with higher education. People think that just because all the information is out there and that you can learn that anytime, that there's no use in it, when actually the point of higher education is not raw knowledge, it's training. I did cram my brain full of information in college and grad school, but what I actually got from grad school was the conversations I had with my classmates and my professors, and the hard training and tradition that comes from decades of built experience. Like
Yes.
you don't get that from AI. You get that from a human who went and trained.
You need to know that someone's looking you in the eye, clocking where you're at, who's trained to realize your body language is indicating certain things, and who isn't going to just validate everything you say just for the sake of it. It's a wild world. It's a wild world.
To all you listening out there, AI cannot challenge you like I can. It won't. It doesn't want to. It wants to tell you what you want to hear, and that's not what you need to get better.
We're just making more dickheads rich the more we get addicted to this. We got to avoid it.
Yes.
I've been having an existential thought, an intrusive thought, and I don't want to ask you to do your job, but I think it ties into this idea of existential therapy, which is a fascinating concept. But I'll tell you, at some point every day, and this has been going on probably the past 2 years, at some point every day, I will kind of quietly clock that my heart is beating and will say to myself, it's very weird that someday my heart is going to stop beating. And I'm totally at peace with it. I'm totally at peace with that thought. Some of this relates in a way I haven't been able to define to fatherhood, to being a dad. It usually is right after Cal goes to bed, as I'm kind of settling in. Maybe this is when I connect with my wife. Maybe we watch some TV or clean the house a little bit. But like, as I'm shifting from dad mode to adult activities, at some point it usually clocks to me, okay, the clock is ticking and this isn't last forever. And I'm at peace with that. And death used to scare me. I used to lay awake at night as a kid, trembling with fear and anxiety at the very idea that death happens and that it would happen to me someday. And now, fine with it. Does this represent growth or hopelessness?
I'd call that growth.
Thank you so much. I think so too.
Good job. You're cured.
Thank you so much. Everybody's cured. I'm cured. You're cured. We're all cured. Everyone's cured. You know what we should do? Spend some money on some services and products to celebrate. I'm a huge proponent of getting access to mental health care. This has been something that over the years I've talked about so much. And I got to say, if you've ever tried to find a psychiatrist who takes your insurance and then that leads to you waiting for months or being told they're not currently accepting new patients, you're not alone. It can be very frustrating. Talkiatry makes it easy to see a licensed psychiatrist online who takes your insurance in just a few days. Talkiatry is a 100% online psychiatry practice that provides comprehensive evaluations, diagnoses, and ongoing medication management for conditions like ADHD, anxiety, depression, bipolar disorder, OCD, PTSD, insomnia, and more. Unlike therapy-only platforms, Talkiatry is psychiatry. You're seeing a medical provider who can diagnose mental health conditions and prescribe medication when it's appropriate. All 800 plus clinicians are in network with major insurers, so you can use your existing insurance instead of paying monthly subscriptions or out-of-network costs. You can meet with a licensed psychiatrist who takes the time to understand what's going on, builds a personalized treatment plan, and supports you over time with consistent evidence-based care. Getting started takes just a few minutes. Complete a short online assessment, get matched with clinicians who fit your needs, and schedule your first visit in days, not months. And because you continue with the same provider, you're not starting over each visit. Your treatment can evolve with you, so you're actually making progress over time. More than 300,000 patients have already found high-quality psychiatric care through Talkiatry. Head to talkiatry.com/beautiful to complete the short assessment and get matched with an in-network psychiatrist in just a few minutes. That's talkiatry.com/beautiful to get matched in minutes. There's information coming at you from all sides when it comes to weight loss. There's diets, there's workouts, there's endless amounts of advice. It is hard to know what actually works, what gets the job done, what's worth your time. That's why HERS offers access to an affordable range of FDA-approved GLP-1 medications that now includes the Wegovy pill and the Wegovy pen. With Wegovy at HERS, lose up to 20% or more of your body weight when combined with diet and exercise. It helps you regulate your appetite, eat less, keep weight off. Plus, Wegovy is the first ever GLP-1 pill for weight loss, so there's no needles needed. I know that that's a huge barrier entry for a lot of people. No needles. Also, everything's 100% online through HERS. You'll connect with a licensed provider who will determine if treatment's right for you. If prescribed, your medication is delivered right to your door. No insurance necessary. And it does not stop there. Weight Loss by HERS goes beyond medication by offering access to 24/7 messaging with your care team and tons of in-app lifestyle and nutrition tips like recipes, meal plans, fitness videos, sleep content, and more. Even better, with a range of affordable GLP-1 options, HERS makes it simple to find an approach that fits your needs and your budget if eligible. You'll get a treatment plan personalized for you and unlimited dosage changes as needed. It's weight loss designed to work with your life. Ready to reach your goals? Visit forhers.com/beautiful to get personalized, affordable care that gets you. That's FORHERS.com/beautiful. forhers.com/beautiful. Weight Loss by HERS is not available in all 50 states. Wegovy is the registered trademark of Novo Nordisk AS. To get started and learn more, including important safety info, Wegovy clinical study info, and restrictions, visit forhers.com.
Want $1,000 weight loss medication for $50? It all starts with Roe's free GLP-1 insurance check. Just upload your insurance card to see if you have coverage, then relax. Over 200,000 people have qualified for a $50 copay through Roe. Go to roe.co/health. Half of covered patients have a $50 per month copay or less for medication, plus $145 monthly Roe membership fee. Deductible cost may apply and final cost varies by insurance plan. For safety information about GLP-1 medications, including boxed warning, go to roe.co/safety, RX only.
Thanks again to our advertisers. Now, let's finish off the phone call. Thank you so much.
Some anonymous psychologist that you cannot check the credentials of just told you you're all good to go, so you can run with that.
I think it's good to. I think it's
tell all your friends.
Being at peace with death is a good place to get to.
Absolutely. One of the big. One of my big influences personally, and naturally bleeds into who I am professionally, is Stoicism. The ancient Greece and Roman philosophy, and they think a lot about death, and with the function of you need to keep in mind that you're not here forever, so that you are living intentionally, and. Yeah, I at some point talk about that with most people, at least most of my adults. And so, it's just you can't act like you have a limited time. If you are not, there's lots of things you have to sort through, and obviously people come to me with things they have to sort out before they get to some semblance of the good life, but if you are not actively working toward making your life into what you want it to look like, then you haven't woken up enough. You need to sit down and think about the fact that you aren't going to be here forever. And if you're not living the life you want to, you are wasting your time. That's, one of the harder truths I have to have with people sometimes.
How do you do that all week? Linking up with people, and then, on Friday you have some friends call you up and they're like, oh, we're all going out to a brewery. Like, how do you, this sounds like a very, I wouldn't say intense form of therapy, because many types of therapy are intense, but certainly deep, right? There's a depth to this. There's clearly, I think I really responded at a certain point to therapy that had its roots in cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, which was a fad back then. But one of the things I appreciated about it was it almost seems in some way the inverse of this, of like, hey, instead of trying to think too deeply, let's break the habits first. Let's not worry as much. And I don't want to put words in them. There's people who study CBT going, no, that's not what we do. But I think the broadest strokes of why I responded to it were like, before we even get to the roots of all this stuff and the philosophical side, we can start breaking patterns right now through behavior. And I always felt like that was cool, because it was like, let's take action now and get to the bottom of it later if necessary. And maybe taking action and breaking the patterns will alleviate the need to even sit and think too hard about this stuff, which I always felt like, at least for me, that version of CBT represented real pressure break. This seems inverse in certain ways, of like, we're thinking about life and death. We're thinking about our place in the world. We're thinking about thinking about the matters of the soul that people have pondered for thousands of years. And that's going to help you be more productive at work, or that's going to help you be less stressed in your marriage. It seems it's very deep.
I'd say it's kind of a both and. I guess the first thing I should say is, like, absolutely, like, if you were out there looking for treatment, like, there are different kinds. So, and frankly, like, if we're real, most therapists are either eclectic or integrative, as we would say. Like, they either take from a lot of things and kind of throw it at the wall, or they like have a cohesive theory and like draw from a lot of traditions. And I'm no different. I draw from a lot of different things, but this is kind of my home base, what we would say. And so, like, some people respond better to different kinds of therapy. That's why there are different kinds of therapy, and it's a great thing. I think I kind of, at least the way I think about it, I very much straddle the line of those two things of, like, I do very regularly have people get into extremely deep questions because I need you to know what motivates you and guides your behavior, what your values are, etc. And I am so hard on emphasizing the need for behavioral change, which is why, like, again, just to go to the relational world, like, we can sit here and talk every week for an hour about, the poor lessons your parents taught you and how that makes it hard to have friends. But I'm also going to tell you, like, no, you need to, like, pick up the phone and call your best friend, and you need to, go bowling or whatever the hell you want. Just do it. Like, it has to be both. It can't be just us sitting here and philosophizing about it. Yeah. There's no point in doing that if it is not going to result in you, again, getting closer to the life that you want to live. So I like to think I find a decent balance there. But,
and how do you do that for yourself? I've always wondered with therapists, especially someone who dives into the depths like this. Like, what happens when your friends go, do you want to go bowling? And you're like, well, I've had 4 sessions this week that I'm never going to ever forget because they were so intense. How do you just go play pickleball at that point?
Well, it depends. How many minutes do we have left?
15.
15. Okay. That's pretty good. It's tricky. I'd say the best answer I can give you is that it comes in cycles. Any therapist you talk to will tell you, like, there are times when it feels good, I'm in flow, all that, and there are times when, like, I am this close to burnout and I desperately need a vacation. And it goes up and down, and that's normal and natural. It is. I'm in a decently good place right now, but like as little as a month ago, I was like really flirting with burnout, and I was like, I need a vacation. I need to get out of here. Like, and it's tough. It's something that we really have to watch for ourselves, obviously, and hopefully we have decent enough structure around us to also clock it if we're getting too close and not taking care of ourselves. But it's hard. I mean, me personally, like I get a lot from my religious community. Like that is always a serene escape for me, and allows me to really invest my energy in a good place that is like completely not unrelated, but like it is separated from the work I do. That's really nice. I do have good friends, and like all of those friends work around me. So that's, I know that is a good thing ultimately, because it means they more or less understand what I'm going through. But I don't know. The biggest thing that I personally struggle with is isolation usually. When I get in my feelings, it usually goes toward isolation. If I get sick, I don't get worried that I'm going to die. For some reason, I get lonely. I'm like, why is there no one here to take care of me? Why am I not living my life in such a way that I have someone here to go like get me medicine or whatever? I don't know. That's usually where my tendencies go. And a lot of my anxieties tend to be relationally focused. I mean, even just yesterday, like a couple of days ago, like a friend of mine invited me to like come hang out with him this weekend, like with another friend. And I knew that the two of them like do this pretty regularly. And so I texted the other friend and was like, hey, like I've been invited to come share this. Like, would that like ruin like girl time? And like, I feel like peaked with this. She texted back and she's like, well, first of all, don't take this the wrong way, but you are always welcome at girl time. And I'm like, that's a life well lived.
Who doesn't want to have that text?
But she was like,
everybody's dreaming of that.
Like it felt so good. But that's all that kind of worms. But yeah, but then obviously she was like, well, you realize like you were invited by this other person. You don't have to check with me. And I'm like, that's just the curse of being a psychologist. Like where I'm either like way too tuned in to the sensitivities of a group dynamic, or I am completely oblivious to them. And more often I'm going to err on the side of checking when I don't need to.
When you are falling into those modes where you feel yourself overthinking it, you feel yourself dwelling on loneliness, lack of relationship while you're sick. I've always wondered with therapists, it must be very hard to feel the emotions behind that while intellectually knowing exactly what you would tell a patient if they were going through the same exact thing. That's got to be a bit of a mind fuck, no?
It's like hell. So a couple months ago, I went on like 3 dates with this woman, and I really have not like actually dated since like college. And so I went through it. I put myself through it, if we're being real here. Like so much anxiety and like so much came up that like I'm realizing I need to work through. But like that was a lot of it. I was like I was leaning on my support system in a way that I just haven't had to do before, because I'm usually the one taking care of everyone else. And so that was definitely uncomfortable to like have to bring my stuff to people and be like, hey, like tell me how I'm thinking about this wrong, or like, I know that this is insane, but please, like, hold me. um, it was really kind of awful, and it, like, was or will be a growth experience for me ultimately. But I don't know. It was frankly more anxious than I'd been in a long time. And again, it was like entirely relationship focused. Like, I don't know why that's my Achilles heel, but I guess that's probably, like, I don't know. I spend all day, every day, like, so in tune with the relationship. It kind of makes sense in a backwards way that would be the biggest thing I struggle with too. Maybe, I don't know. I'm therapizing myself here.
I mean, it sounds wildly frustrating to wind up in situations where you're like, I know the checklist of questions to ask myself. I've been given the guidebook on how to navigate this, but also I just want to feel down in the dumps about it. So screw all that. That sounds maddening.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had something else in my head there. What was it? I was just going to say, like, kind of for exactly that reason, again, this is like a whole other call, but it is like, like, I'm just now, because I've just graduated, like, within the last year, and I'm like I'm like fully independent now and doing things. Like, I guess technically I'm also like seriously considering dating for the first time, and I'm quickly realizing that that's going to be very interesting as a psychologist, because not everyone is like down for, like, well, what I realized very quickly was, oh wait, I spend all day every day like asking people the most intimate possible questions, like their deepest, darkest secrets, and they just tell me. They just straight up tell me, because I'm in this specific role, and now I can't do that. Like, I have to put the brakes on.
Do psychologists often wind up dating other psychologists?
I don't know. I don't. You know, I feel like the answer is actually no. I don't think it happens super often. Not unheard of by any means, but that would be a really interesting thing to study. I might have to look that up later.
I just wonder if there's some shared lifestyle and some shared style of communication that to people not on the same wavelength, if it must feel intimidating to them at some times, or like you have to turn off a whole skill set. As for, like, can you 100% go out? Can you meet someone on Tinder who is whatever, they help with insurance claims, they have a very good quality job? Can you really just meet somebody on an app and go out to dinner and not analyze them a little bit in the course of the dinner? Can you really turn it off? Like, that's a tall order. It's a tough
You don't
ask.
want the answer to that question.
I don't want the answer to that. I don't want the answer to that. But I do have to say, too, I mean, we've gotten this deep into the conversation, and I have to say, anytime I meet somebody who dedicates their life to trying to help others, I do just feel bound to say, thanks for stepping up to the plate, trying to help the rest of us hold our heads together.
I appreciate that, man. I'm trying out here, and I am actually. I am very happy. I had to go off wherever I went for internship, but I came back to the place I was before that, because like I desperately love it here, and like I loved where I worked when I was here, and so I'm back there now, and like there is so much that really brings me joy here. And like tonight, I'm driving down to Boston for a concert, and next weekend, like, my family's coming into town to visit me for the first time up here, actually, which sucks because I think it's going to rain the entire weekend. But like, I don't know, that I think I did well enough in like crafting at least the environment around me that that enables the life I want to live. It goes a long way to being able to help hold others. So I don't know. It was a rough couple months not very long ago, but overall I'm very happy, and that goes a long way. I think if I have another 70 years of this ahead of me, I'll be pretty pleased.
Well said. And I'm glad you got through that burnout stage, because anybody who's experienced it, just the physical exhaustion, the mental exhaustion, it's real. And then I have to imagine in your profession, when you feel like you're burning out and you start to have to think, like, am I going to have to like dump some clients, and what are the ethics of that, and make them feel bad? Like, there's all sorts of stress and pressure on what it rolls, that when you burn out, it can roll downhill to others really fast. So I'm glad you're on the other side of it. Yeah.
We'll get there. And like I said, it's a cycle. I'll be there again at some point. And, it always seems to conveniently happen not long before I go visit my family, which usually means going to the beach.
Okay. Something worth analyzing there, I'm sure.
Yeah. That's a whole other thing we didn't have time for, but yeah, I also, I moved north to go to grad school, and so I'm pretty far from my family, which I'm very happy where I am, but it is hard being distant from them, especially when I am having my lonelier days.
Yeah, I bet. We've got about a minute and a half left. And again, I want to thank you for talking. Thanks for letting me vent my stress about that day with my son. Thanks for letting me know what you do.
Oh, yeah.
Existential therapy sounds, I have to bet, like any form of therapy, you got to find the right style and the right person, and the vibes are as important as anything else, and the connection is as important as anything else. But I have to bet when you find a client who realizes, what they really want is to have deep examinations of stoicism and how it applies to their modern day life, they must be so thrilled to have somebody to have those conversations with.
Oh yeah. To have a good match is like the best feeling that you can possibly have at work. And to have a bad match is like, oh hell, why am I in this job? I don't know. You get the whole spectrum. So if you're out there listening, and you're not liking your therapist, try a different one.
Yeah, don't do therapy once and
Maybe
then
I shouldn't say that.
No, I think it's totally fair. I feel like I can say it. The amount of people who go, I'm going to finally do it. I'm going to go do therapy. And then they meet a therapist, and I'm like, I didn't like the vibe. So I guess I'm going to cut off the idea of therapy for the rest of my life. I go, we don't do that with dentists. Oh, your teeth would rot out of your head. You got to think of it like that. You go until you find the one you like, but you commit to the idea that it's a necessary part of your life infrastructure. Beautiful talking to you. We're going to say goodbye to everybody on the free feed, and if you have a few minutes, I'm hoping you'll hang out and answer some questions behind the good old paywall.
Yes, sir.
Caller, thank you so much. Thanks for calling up, telling us about your life, about your profession, about your approach to helping other people, about the deep philosophy that you partake in all the time. No wonder you sometimes feel a little burnt out. I get it. I feel lucky that you're out there doing what you do. Thanks so much for calling. Thanks to Andrea Quinn for producing the show. Thanks to Shellshag for the theme music. Thanks to all of you for listening. Thanks to everybody who joins the Facebook group at Beautiful Anonymous, the community. Huge thanks to everybody who signs up at beautifulanonymous.com to get the stuff behind the paywall, supports the show. Thank you so much for doing that. We're on Instagram. We always threaten to have TikToks, but we can never get our act together. Anyway, thanks so much for listening, everybody. We'll talk to you next time. This week on Beautiful Anonymous Plus, here's some of what you'll get from the 5 questions.
Does the universe have an end and a beginning? So I hate to tell you, I am a lover of DC Comics.
Okay, we have a lot to talk about.
Anything that is immortal by virtue of a cycle is, yeah, I'm fine with that. I'm fine with the poetry there.
Now let's talk DC Comics, if we're going to bring it up. Let's
Okay.
move on from the philosophical. So,
Had to put this behind the paywall.
You have to put this behind the paywall. Don't forget to sign up for Beautiful Anonymous Plus at beautifulanonymous.com.